Welcome, lovely viewers, to another exciting video. Hello and a warm welcome to our channel. Today, we're delving into Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark. Prince Andrew of Greece and Denmark, 3 December 1944, was the seventh child and fourth son of King George I and Queen Olga of Greece. He was a grandson of Christian IX of Denmark and the father of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He was a prince of Greece and Denmark, both by virtue of his patrilineal descent. A career soldier, Prince Andrew began military training at an early age and was commissioned as an officer in the Greek army. His command positions were substantive appointments rather than honorary, and he saw service in the Balkan Wars. In 1913, his father was assassinated and Andrew's elder brother Constantine became king. Constantine's neutrality policy during World War I led to his abdication, and most of the royal family, including Andrew, was exiled. On their return a few years later, Andrew saw service as Major General in the Greco-Turkish War, but the war went badly for Greece, and Andrew was blamed, in part, for the loss of Greek territory. He was exiled for a second time in 1922, and spent most of the rest of his life in France. By 1930, Andrew was estranged from his wife, Princess Alice of Battenberg. His only son, Philip, served in the British Navy during World War II, while all four of his daughters were married to Germans, three of whom had Nazi connections. Separated from his wife and son by the effects of the war, Andrew died in Monte Carlo in 1944. He had seen neither of them since 1939. Brace yourself for an in-depth analysis as we navigate through early life and its far-reaching implications. Prince Andrew was born at the Tatoi Palace just north of Athens on 2 February 1882, the fourth son of George I of Greece. A member of the House of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Glücksburg, he was a prince of both Greece and Denmark, as his father was a younger son of Christian IX of Denmark. He was in the line of succession to the Greek and more distantly to the Danish throne. In addition to his native Greek, Andrew learned Danish, German, French, English and Russian. In conversations with his parents he refused to speak anything but Greek. He attended cadet school and staff college at Athens, and was given additional private tuition in military subjects by Panagiotis Danglis, who recorded that he was quick and intelligent. He became quite friendly with fellow student Theodore Pangalos, the future Greek dictator. Despite his nearsightedness, Andrew joined the army as a cavalry officer in May 1901. In this section, we'll be shedding light on marriage and its impact on our understanding of the subject. In 1902, Prince Andrew met Princess Alice of Battenberg during his stay in London on the occasion of the coronation of Edward VII, who was his uncle by marriage and her grand-uncle. Princess Alice was a daughter of Prince Louis of Battenberg and Princess Victoria of Hesse and by Rhine, King Edward's niece. They fell in love, and the following year, on 6 October 1903, Andrew married Alice in a civil wedding at Darmstadt. The following day 2 religious wedding services were performed, one Lutheran in the Evangelical Castle Church, and another Greek Orthodox in the Russian chapel on the Marfelden. Prince and Princess Andrew had 5 children, all of whom later had children of their own. In the following section, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating world of early career. In 1909, the political situation in Greece led to a coup d'état, as the Athens government refused to support the Cretan parliament, which had called for the union of Crete, still nominally part of the Ottoman Empire, with the Greek mainland. A group of dissatisfied officers formed a Greek nationalist military league and demanded, among other reforms, the removal of royal princes from the army, which led to Prince Andrew's resignation from the army and the rise to power of Eleftherios Venizelos. A few years later, at the outbreak of the Balkan Wars in 1912, Andrew was reinstated in the army as a lieutenant colonel in the 3rd Cavalry Regiment, and placed in command of a field hospital. During the war, his father was assassinated and Andrew inherited a villa on the island of Corfu, Mon Repos, as well as an annuity of £4,000 sterling. In 1914, Andrew, like many European princes, held honorary military posts in both the German and Russian empires, as well as Prussian, Russian, Danish, and Italian knighthoods. During World War I, Andrew continued to visit Britain, despite veiled accusations in the British House of Commons that he was a German agent. His brother, King Constantine, who was the Kaiser's brother-in-law, followed a neutrality policy, but the democratically elected government of Venizelos supported the Allies. By June 1917, the king's neutrality policy had become so untenable that he abdicated and the Greek royal family were forced into exile. For the next few years, most of the Greek royal family lived in Switzerland. As we progress, let's shine a spotlight on exile from Greece and examine its intricate interplay within our topic. For 3 years, Constantine's second son, Alexander, was king of Greece until his early death from an infection due to a monkey bite. Constantine was restored to the throne, and Andrew was once again reinstated in the army, this time as a major general. The family took up residence at Mon Repos. Andrew was given command of the II Army Corps during the Battle of the Sakarya, which effectively stalemated the Greco-Turkish War. Andrew had little respect for his superior officers, whom he considered incompetent. He was ordered to attack the Turkish positions, which he considered a desperate move little short of ill-concealed panic. Refusing to put his men in undue danger, suffering lack of food and ammunition, Andrew followed his own battle plan, much to the dismay of the commanding general, Anastasios Papoilas. Relieved of his chief of staff, and given a dressing down by Papoilas, in September Andrew asked to be removed from command, but Papoilas refused. Andrew's troops were forced to retreat. He was placed on leave for 2 months, until he was transferred to the Supreme Army Council. In March 1922, he was appointed as commander of the V Army Corps in Epirus and the Ionian Islands. Papoilas was replaced by General Georgios Hatzianestis. The Greek defeat in Asia Minor in August 1922 led to the 11 September 1922 revolution, during which Prince Andrew was arrested, court-martialed, and found guilty of disobeying an order and acting on his own initiative during the battle of the previous year. Many defendants in the treason trials that followed the coup were shot, including Hatzianestis and 5 senior politicians. British diplomats assumed that Andrew was also in mortal danger. Andrew, though spared, was banished for life and his family fled into exile aboard a British cruiser, HMS Calypso. The family settled at St. Cloud on the outskirts of Paris, in a small house loaned to them by Andrew's wealthy sister-in-law, Princess George of Greece. He and his family were stripped of their Greek nationality and travelled under Danish passports. In 1930, Andrew published a book entitled Towards Disaster, The Greek Army in Asia Minor in 1921, in which he defended his actions during the Battle of the Sakarya, but he essentially lived a life of enforced retirement, despite only being in his 40s. During their time in exile, the family became more and more dispersed. Alice suffered a nervous breakdown and was institutionalized in Switzerland. Their daughters married and settled in Germany, separated from Andrew, and Philip was sent to school in Britain, where he was brought up by his mother's British relatives. Andrew went to live in the south of France. On the French Riviera, Andrew lived in a small apartment or hotel rooms or on board a yacht with Countess Andrew de Lobeden. His marriage to Alice was effectively over, and after her recovery and release, she returned to Greece. In 1936, his sentence of exile was quashed by emergency laws, which also restored land and annuities to the king. Andrew returned to Greece for a brief visit that May. The following year, his pregnant daughter Cecily, his son-in-law and 2 of his grandchildren were killed in an air accident at Ostend. He travelled to London to meet up with his 16-year-old son Prince Philip, and they went together to Darmstadt, where he met Alice for the first time in 6 years at the funeral. During World War II, he found himself essentially trapped in Vichy, France, while his son, Prince Philip, fought on the side of the British. They were unable to see or even correspond with one another. Andrew's 3 surviving sons-in-law fought on the German side. Prince Christoph of Hesse was a member of the Nazi Party and the Waffen-SS. Berthold, Margrave of Baden, was invalided out of the Wehrmacht in 1940 after an injury in France. Prince Gottfried of Hohenlohe-Langenburg served on the Eastern Front and was dismissed after the 20 July plot. For 5 years, Andrew saw neither his wife nor his son. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on death and burial in the upcoming portion of this video. He died in the Hotel Metropole, Monte Carlo, Monaco, of heart failure and arteriosclerosis in the closing months of the war in Europe. Andrew was at first buried in the Russian Orthodox Church in Nice, but in 1946 his remains were transferred by the Greek cruiser Aberloth to the Royal Cemetery at Tatoi Palace, near Athens. Prince Philip and then Private Secretary Mike Parker travelled to Monte Carlo to collect items belonging to his father from and to Lobigny. Among these items, a signet ring which the prince wore from then onwards, an ivory shaving brush he took to using, and some clothes he had adapted to fit him. Prince Andrew left to his only son 7/10 of his estate, but he also left behind a debt of £17,500 leading Philip's maternal grandmother, Victoria Mountbatten, Marchioness of Milford Haven, to complain bitterly of the extravagance the Greek prince had been led into by his French mistress. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding honours and awards as we navigate its intriguing terrain. Kingdom of Greece, Grand Cross of the Order of the Redeemer, Denmark. Knight of the Order of the Elephant, 6 August 1902. Cross of Honor of the Order of the Dannebrog, 9 November 1902. Commemorative Medal for the Golden Wedding of King Christian IX and Queen Louise. King Christian IX Centenary Medal, German Empire, Knight of the Order of the Black Eagle. Hesse and by Rhine, Knight of the Grand Ducal Hessian Order of the Golden Lion, 7 October 1903. Kingdom of Italy, Knight of the Supreme Order of the Most Holy Annunciation, 8 April 1907. Monaco, Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St. Charles, 14 March 1940. Norway, Grand Cross of the Royal Norwegian Order of St. Olav, with collar, 3 July 1908. Russian Empire, Knight of the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle I called, 1903. Kingdom of Spain, Knight Grand Cross of the Royal and Distinguished Order of Charles III, with collar, 30 May 1906. United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, Honorary Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, 22 August 1902 on the occasion of King Edward VI's coronation. Don't forget to check out my other videos for more valuable content.